If you're researching Real Brokerage, you probably already watched the hype videos. This is not one of those. Most of what's out there is either agents reading off a recruiting script or critics who've never actually been inside the brokerage. Neither one is going to help you make a real decision. I've been in real estate full-time for 8 years, run my own team, closed over $100 million in volume, and came from Keller Williams. I've been at Real for 3 years now, but I'm not here to sell you on Real today. I'm just here to tell you what the pitch deck doesn't cover, what it's actually like day to day, what surprised me, what I wish someone had told me before I made the move, and what's genuinely not a fit for every agent. So let's start with the thing nobody puts in the recruiting pitch because it's the thing that catches most agents off guard in their first 30 days. Here's something most recruiting conversations don't put in. Real is not a hand-holding brokerage. There's no office to walk into on a slow Tuesday, no broker down the hall, no floor time, which is a joke, no weekly meetings to give your week a shape. And if you're coming from KW or a large brokerage where there's a physical office, a team leader, a culture committee, and a calendar full of events, the absence of all that is going to feel strange at first. I spent a few years at Keller Williams, and I'll be honest, I didn't realize how much of my routine was actually built around that office until the office wasn't there anymore. The coffee runs, the impromptu conversations in the bullpen, the meetings I complained about that were also quietly the thing that made Tuesday feel like a work day. So when I moved to Real, the first 30 days felt a little like, okay, where is everything? Where do I actually start? Not because the support isn't there. It definitely is. It just doesn't live where I was used to looking for it. The broker support lives in an app. The community lives on a platform. The tools, the answers, the resources, they're all there. They're just not waiting for you in a conference room at 9 a.m. So here's what I had to figure out pretty fast. KW gave me a lot of structure I wasn't building myself, and some of it I actually utilized. Some of it I just thought I needed because it had always been there. And the agents who struggle at Real are usually the ones who needed that structure and just didn't realize it until it was already gone. The agents who I've seen really thrive here are the ones who are already running their own business and were just tired of paying for a building that they didn't need. And so before you make the move, be honest with yourself about which one you truly are. Because Real is going to give you better splits, real stock, and tools that actually work. What it won't give you is someone to make your Tuesday feel like a work day. That part, unfortunately, is on you. So once you've made the mental shift, the financial side of this model gets very interesting, and one of the parts a lot of agents gloss over or actually never understand is revenue share. And so let me explain it the way that I wish somebody had explained it to me when I was thinking about it. If you're seriously considering Real Brokerage and you want to learn more about it, you can actually schedule a call directly with me. We can go over the numbers to see how much money that you would be saving at Real, break down the technology, and really dive into whether or not Real is going to be a good fit for you. The link is right in the description below to schedule that call. Let me tell you how revenue share usually gets explained. Someone pulls up a slide. There's a large chart with 5 tiers, percentages, caps, calculations. In about 90 seconds in, the agent on the other side of the table, who was me, has completely checked out. Either it sounds way too complicated or it sounds way too good to be true. Either way, we file it into, we'll see, and probably never think about it again. Now that I've found to be a huge mistake because some of the agents who actually understand this and treat it like a real part of their business are building something most agents at traditional brokerages will never have access to. So here's how it actually works. When someone you bring to Real closes a deal, Real pays you a percentage of the company dollar. Not out of that agent's commission, not out of your commission, out of Real's cut. You don't manage them. You don't broker their deals. You just introduce them to the platform. Tier 1, your first agents pay 5% of the company dollar up to $4,000 per capping agent per year. So 3 agents in your network who each hit their cap, that's potentially $12,000 a year coming in on top of your production. Not necessarily retirement money overnight, but it's real recurring income that doesn't require you to sell another house. And here's the part we have to talk about. It's willable. You can actually pass this income stream to your family. This isn't a bonus structure. This isn't a points program. This is an asset that is willable. One you're either building or you're not. Now, I do want to be really straight with you in this. You don't have to become a recruiting machine for this to matter. In fact, the agents I know who benefit a lot from revenue share aren't out there trying to, recruit agents every single day. They're just honest with the people that are already in their network, other agents they respect, people they'd vouch for, and they have a real conversation with them. Not necessarily a huge pitch, but just a conversation. 2 or 3 agents doing solid volume really can change the math because they can recruit agents down the line, and it just grows and grows. The agents who ignore rev share entirely and just focus on their own production, I do get it. I mean, that's how I was and still can be. But essentially, you're leaving a second income stream sitting on the table because the explanation was confusing at the first time you heard it. Don't do that. Now, the cap, the splits, the revenue share, those are all real and they definitely matter. But the reason agents stay somewhere long-term usually has nothing to do with the numbers. Every brokerage says they have a great culture. We've all heard the pitches, every single one. And what most of them mean is they have a nice office, someone brings donuts on Friday, and there's even a holiday party in December. That, unfortunately, is not culture. That's just a building with snacks. Real's culture is tangible, but it did take me a minute to find it. And if nobody tells you where to look, you might spend your first month thinking that it doesn't exist. Because here's the thing, there is no office, which means there's no break room, no hallway conversations, no running into a colleague on your way to grab coffee. The community lives on a platform. Group chats, online events, forums, and if your idea of culture is physical proximity, people around you, energy you can feel in a room, this could feel thin at first. I'll be honest with you, my first few weeks at Real, I thought the incredible community thing was just marketing copy. And then I posted a question, just a straightforward question about a tricky transaction. And within a few hours, I had responses from agents in 3 different states, one of them doing serious volume, who just helped and answered the question. No agenda, no, let's hop on a call so I can pitch you something. Just genuinely useful information from people who've been there. At other brokerages, that kind of conversation happened too, but it was always agents in my market, which meant there was always a little friction underneath it. Like, we were friendly, but we're also competing for the same listings, the same referrals, the same zip codes. At Real, because it's natural, that friction mostly disappears. An agent in Texas has no reason to guard their systems from me, right? An agent in Florida is not worried that I'm going to steal their clients. So the information sharing is different. The generosity is different. Agents share scripts, vendor relationships, strategies, things that would never get shared openly in a traditional office environment. But here's the catch. You actually have to show up for it. In the Real Academy, lurk for 30 days and you'll decide the community is overhyped. Post a question, contribute something, engage with what's there, and it really becomes one of genuine value and definitely contributes to being at Real. The culture here is distributed. It's not handed to you when you walk through the door, but it is there, and once you find it, it's actually better, in my opinion, than any break room ever has been. Now, Real is definitely not for every agent. If you want a physical office, a broker down the hall, a brokerage that puts shape around your week, this probably isn't your move, and that's fine. Knowing that about yourself is actually really useful information, but if you're a self-directed agent who's tired of watching your commission disappear into fees for a building that you don't use, if you've never once been offered equity in the company you're making money for, if revenue share has always been something you heard about but never actually saw on a check, the model here is genuinely different. Not perfect, different. And here's the one thing I'd probably leave you with. Most agents don't leave their brokerage because they love it. They stay because they haven't stopped long enough to do the math. The cap, the splits, the fees, what you're actually keeping at the end of the year versus what you could be keeping. That math is usually the moment. If you haven't done it recently, do it. And if you're seriously considering Real Brokerage and want to hop on a call with me, I'll help you go over those numbers to see how much money you could be saving. Again, show you the tech, and then you can decide for yourself if Real is going to be a good fit for you or not. Link is right in the description below. And if you want to know my honest opinion on Real after 3 years, watch this video right here.